If you've tried budgeting apps, spreadsheets, envelopes, maybe even a perfect template, and you always end up abandoning it, this is for you. Because most budgets don't fail because a spreadsheet is wrong. They fail because the way you run the budget doesn't match your life, especially if you're a busy, high performing professional. I mean, you can be excellent at your career, organized, disciplined, responsible, and still feel like money is weirdly hard to manage consistently. So today, I'm not giving you another template. I'm giving you a new way to think. Why budgets break and what successful people do differently without turning budgeting into a second job. Just a quick recap of where we are so far in our series on budgeting. For episode 1, we separated tracking from budgeting. Then in episode 2, we built the 12-month plan. And last episode, episode 3, we built the lanes, accounts, and allowances. Today, we talk about what makes the whole system actually stick. Now, if you want to see how the full Beacon money system fits together, goals, budgeting, protection, buffers, investing, watch our free training. We call it our starter kit. You'll find the link in the description or show notes. This episode will still give you the core thinking, but the starter kit shows you the whole framework end to end, and it's free. Okay, now let's talk about what's really happening when budgets fail. First, let's talk about the real reason budgets fail, and it's not laziness. Most budgeting advice assumes your problem is knowledge. Like you don't know what to do, therefore you need a better method. But for busy professionals, the issue is rarely knowledge. It's execution under a heavy load. Because your life has more choices and convenience spending today, more irregular life events like, tuition seasons, travel, family obligations, renewals, maintenance, and so on. Your life also has more small exceptions that feel reasonable in the moment and more decision fatigue from work. So the problem isn't that you don't understand budgeting. The problem is that your budget is being asked to survive a life that's variable and busy. So here's the shift we'd like you to make. A budget isn't a document. A budget is a behavioral system. If the system depends on you being a different person every day, more patient, more disciplined, less tired, it will collapse the moment your life gets busy. And so as you listen, notice which one sounds familiar. You stop because it becomes too complicated, or you stop because it's annoying to maintain, or it simply disappears when work gets intense and life gets full. Now, these don't mean you're failing. It just means the system was designed to require daily effort from someone who doesn't have daily spare effort. And so now let's look at the 3 failure patterns and why smart people like you still drop the ball when it comes to their budgeting. Let me name 3 patterns I see in smart, capable people like you, especially for those who perform well at work. The first pattern is that the budget is overcomplicated. The budget demands constant attention. There are too many categories, too many moving parts, too many micro decisions to make. High detail creates a false sense of control at first, then it becomes a nightmare to maintain. And then eventually, you burn out. It's like building a system that requires daily reporting at home forever. The second pattern is willpower based. The budget works only if you're disciplined every day. But high performers like you already spend so much discipline at work, right? Your meetings, your deadlines, your leadership, performance evaluations, dozens of decisions and trade offs every week. I mean, your money system should save discipline, not consume it. A budget that requires daily self control is not a budget, it's a stress test. The third pattern is no cadence. The budget exists, but there is no scheduled rhythm to run it. So budgeting becomes something you do only when there's a problem, which means it's always associated with stress. And when something is associated with stress, you tend to avoid it, even if you're smart. So if you had to pick one bottleneck, are you overcomplicated, willpower based, or you have no cadence? Don't fix everything. Just fix the bottleneck. Because when the bottleneck is solved, the same budget suddenly becomes easier to use. Now, what does it mean to run a budget? Let's look at a few operating principles. When people say, I need a better budget, what they often mean is, I need a system that runs even when I'm busy. You see, running your budget isn't a bunch of tasks, it's a set of defaults. And successful people don't win with motivation, they win with design. And so here are 4 operating principles for your budget that you can use. Principle number 1, defaults beat decisions. If you need to decide every single time, you'll get tired. And so a good system pre-decides things like what gets funded first, what is protected, what is flexible, what triggers a pause before spending. High performers understand this at work. If their team has no defaults, every situation becomes a meeting. It's the same thing at home. No defaults means every spending moment becomes a negotiation and it becomes so tiring. Principle number 2, rhythm beats motivation. Successful budgets aren't maintained by enthusiasm, they're maintained by a repeating rhythm that becomes boring in a good way. When budgeting is boring, it becomes stable. When it's emotional, it becomes inconsistent. You see, the goal is not excitement, the goal is inevitability. What's exciting is that you achieve your goals because of your budget. Principle number 3, friction is your friend. If money is too easy to pull from anywhere, priorities get raided. That's why one giant account breaks even good budgets. Because every peso is reachable from that account, right? So everything feels like it's available and you think you have more money than you actually do. You know, structure, like having accounts, lanes, and allowance rules, creates gentle friction. It doesn't punish you. It simply makes it obvious when you're crossing a boundary. Friction protects what matters when your day is long and your brain is tired. So train yourself to make it your friend. Principle number 4, fewer rules, stronger rules. Too many rules creates rebellion and exceptions, but a few strong rules create consistency. So I have several examples of strong rules, like goals get funded first when income arrives before expenses, or seasonal and ubi money doesn't get touched for lifestyle or discretionary expenses, or allowances don't get topped up unless it's a defined exception. You get the idea. It's simple, clear, and most importantly, repeatable. Now, if you want the full Beacon blueprint, how goals, budgeting, protection, buffers, and investing connect, watch the starter kit. It's a free training. The link is in the description and show notes. Now, let me connect this back to the budgeting system from this cluster so you see how the pieces fit. Here's the full picture. In the first video of this series, we saw tracking versus budgeting. And we learned that budgeting is forward-looking, not looking backward. In the second video, we looked at the 12-month budget. Because truth be told, real life is annual, right? Monthly only budgeting hides the truth and makes you myopic. Video 3 is about the accounts and allowance logic. Because you don't want to track every single receipt, right? You want rules and boundaries that enforce those rules and reduce decision fatigue. And now, for the fourth video in the series, it's about running the whole system. Having defaults, a cadence, friction, and a few strong rules so the system works even when you're busy. And here's the key thought I want you to keep. A budget fails when it asks you to be a different person every day. But it succeeds when it fits the person you already are, busy, responsible, and human. So instead of asking, what template should I use, or what are the ideal percentages that should go into this or that, ask instead, what system will still run when I'm tired, overloaded, or traveling? That question changes everything. So let's now look at the minimum effective system mindset. And don't worry, there are no heavy instructions here. Here's the thing. Think of budgeting like fitness. The best plan is not the most impressive plan. It's the plan you can repeat. Consistency beats intensity. Your goal is not to make your budget impressive, but rather to make it inevitable. Here's a powerful way to think about it. If you disappear for 2 weeks because work is crazy, what parts of your system still run? If the answer is none, then the system depends on your willpower and is ultimately doomed to fail. But if the answer is the most important activities still happen, then you're building something that survives real life. Now, if you adopt only one idea from this video, adopt this. A rhythm your calendar can sustain beats a perfect budget you abandon. Not because you're lazy, but because you're busy. Now, to remember everything we've learned today, here's a simple mental model you can use. Document. Document your plan, your 12-month view. Defaults. Define what happens automatically when income arrives. Friction. These are the things that protect your priorities from impulse. Cadence. This is when you review so problems don't surprise you. If you have those 4, Document defaults, friction, and cadence. You'll stop hunting for templates and you'll start building a system instead. A budget you can run beats a perfect budget you abandon. If you want to get a taste of the full Beacon money system and how it fits together, watch the free starter kit. The link is in the description and the show notes below. And if you want this built step by step with personal guidance and feedback customized to your real life, that's what our Beacon Financial Mastery Program is for. In our next episode, we'll look at what not having a real budget is costing high earners and what the next step looks like. I'm Mon Casas from Beacon Wealth Advisory, and I'll see you in our next episode.